Hello and welcome back to this plant growth and development series where we're talking about plant growth hormones. In the first part, we have already looked at plant growth promoters, जो कि थे auxins, gibberellins and cytokinins. Now we move ahead and come to another plant growth hormone that falls in the boundary between promoter and inhibitor. In simple words, it has both growth promoting and growth inhibiting activities. The name of this plant growth hormone is ethylene. Well, chemically, it is a very simple molecule. It is basically ethene, according to the UPAC naming system. So, this ethene is a gas. So, this is also a gaseous plant growth hormone. How is it formed in the plants? Well, the source of this gas is the breakdown of an amino acid, and the name of this amino acid is methionine. Methionine is a sulfur containing amino acid. The other sulfur containing amino acid found in plants is cysteine. Anyways, coming back to the topic. Now let's talk about the scientists involved with this plant growth hormone. Here we majorly don't talk about the discovery, but we talk about the scientists who made us understand what function this plant growth hormone performs. So the first scientist is Denny. He told us that ethene is involved in fruit ripening. So he showed that ethene had a role in fruit ripening. Second was Zimmerman. Zimmerman said that it had a role in leaf abscission. Leaf abscission refers to the fall of the old leaves, the senescence of the old leaves. Now, let's talk about where this is synthesized in the plant body. What these two scientists told was exactly the location where this hormone is going to be found in the plants. Number one, tissues undergoing senescence, like the old mature leaves or the mature fruits, and also the fruits that are undergoing the ripening process. With this background, let's move to look at the functions performed by ethylene. As we have discussed, the first most important function of ethylene definitely has to be in fruit ripening. So, fruit ripening, what ethylene does is that it increases the respiration rate in the fruits. Now, let's say I have a fruit that is mature, but yet it has not ripened. Its tissues have not softened. How is that going to happen? The respiration inside the fruit is going to increase in the presence of ethylene. This process is known as respiratory climactic. So this respiratory climactic is going to cause hastened fruit ripening. The next function, as we've discussed, is that it promotes senescence, fall of old leaves and flowers. Another function is that it causes horizontal growth of seedlings. What do we mean by this? Well, the growth in plants, as we have discussed many times, is of two types. One is the increase in length. But sometimes we also want the plant to grow laterally. We want a radial growth. So I'll increase the width. This process is going to be caused by ethylene. It's going to promote the growth of radial tissues. In the lateral growth is also going to happen. Another function is that it suppresses the growth of lateral buds. What are lateral buds? Well, in a plant, the bud on the top, present at the top, is the apical bud. Then what is the lateral bud? The buds present on the sides of the plant are known as lateral buds. So these lateral buds help the plant to gain some width, to have some foliage. Now it is going to suppress the growth of this lateral bud. This means that the plant is only going to get taller and taller. This phenomena, as we have seen before, is already known as apical dominance. Apical dominance is where the presence of the apical bud does not allow the growth of the lateral buds. This was a function of auxins, and where it is thought that auxins cause their apical dominance by inducing the synthesis of ethylene. So, if you give auxins to a plant, auxin is going to cause the plant to make more ethylene, and this ethylene is not going to allow the lateral bud to grow. So, the plant is going to get taller. This is observed in the case of pea plant. Now let's look at the next function. Ethylene is also known to initiate the process of germination. It is seen in the case of peanuts. Besides that, it initiates flowering. Now, if all the flowering happens at one time, all the fruits would also be produced in a synchronized manner. This is very important in commercial plants. Example, pineapple. It also initiates the sprouting. What do we mean by sprouting? Whenever you get potato at your house, you must have seen small eyes in the potato, right? These eyes represent buds on the potato. If you give ethylene treatment, these buds are going to sprout and you'll observe these small green plants coming out of your potato tube. Another function is that it causes root growth and root hair formation. So this is your main root. Besides that, you have root hairs to increase the absorption area for water. This is also induced by ethylene. Another important function, I'll just make some space here, is that it causes the elongation of petiole. It causes elongation of petiole and internode in deep water plants. In deep water plants. What does this mean? Well, this means that let's talk about rice. We know that for whenever we have to plant rice, we need some standing water, right? And below that we plant our rice seedlings. Basically, जो आपके rice seedlings है वो submerged है water के नीचे. So if they don't quickly find out a way to come out of that water and they are continuously submerged, number one, they are going to rot and die off. Number two, there's going to be no photosynthesis. That way also they are going to die off. So these seedlings need to rapidly gain height to come out of this submerged state, come out and perform photosynthesis. This is done if the petiole of the leaf, petiole is the part of the leaf, this portion you see is the petiole. So if this elongates or the internode in the rice plants elongate, they will quickly come out of water. This function is also performed by ethylene. After looking at the functions, we approach to the last part of the video where we'll talk about the commercial applications of ethylene. Well, ethylene is a very simple gaseous compound, but it is one of the most widely used plant growth hormone in both agriculture and horticulture practices. So it is available in the market in the form of a compound known as Ethephon. What is this Ethephon? Ethephon is an aqueous solution. Basically, this is a liquid that slowly releases ethylene. So it causes slow, gradual release of ethylene wherever you're going to spray this Ethephon solution. So what is the commercial applications? There are three major commercial applications. Number one, it is going to hasten fruit ripening. Why do we need it commercially? Well, see, if there's a farmer and he plucks his fruit in a completely ripe form from the tree only, by the time it reaches the markets, it is already going to get degraded. It is going to get overripe and it will be wasted. It will lead to a lot of post-harvesting losses. So a common practice for farmers is to pluck the fruit when it is mature but in an unripe state. And when the fruit reaches to the market, it is sprayed with this Ethephon solution that causes the ripening of the fruits, and then it is sold off in the market. This practice is used in plants like tomato and apple. The second important function is that it promotes thinning in commercially high value yielding crops like cotton and cherry. What do we mean by thinning? Now let's say there's a cotton plant and it has let's say 200 flowers at the beginning of the flowering period. Now, if there are more flowers than the cotton plant has the capacity for, eventually आपकी fruit set नहीं होने वाली है, because there will be a lot of pressure on the plants. So what we do is we spray the cotton or the cherry blossom with this Ethephon solution. The unripe fruits or the extra flowers are going to be shed off. Now let's say out of 200, I have only 100 flowers left. And my plant can look after these 100 flowers, and I'm going to get beautiful cherry fruits or the great cotton crop. This process is known as thinning, the shedding off of the extra flowers or the unripe fruits, so that whatever fruits or flowers are remaining give me a better yield. Now the next important function is it induces a feminization of the flowers, as in more female flowers would be produced by the plant. If there are more female flowers, there will be more fruits, and more fruits means more money. Therefore, this is also a very important commercial application of ethylene. This was all for ethylene. In the next video, we're going to talk about a plant growth inhibitor known as abscisic acid. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and do write in the comment section suggestions for more videos.